Modern-day Australia is a hotspot for animals on the nope list. Spiders that can kill you in 15 minutes, giant sharks and crocodiles, 21 out of 25 of the world's most venomous snakes, and the list goes on. Prehistoric Australia, where its modern-day relatives evolved from, was certainly no different. If anything, it was worse. We're about to take a look at some of its most fearsome creatures, so make sure to stick around until the end as we work from least to most scary. You won't want to miss the last few predators. One thing to note as we start this journey back in time is that everything in prehistoric Australia was bigger. Quite a lot bigger. And this definitely applies to the Diprotodon, our first guest. The Diprotodon holds the title of the largest Australian megafauna ever discovered. Resembling a rhinoceros in size, this herbivorous giant reached 10 feet in length, stood 6.5 feet tall, and weighed approximately 6,100 pounds, or 2.7 tons, making it the largest marsupial mammal known to have existed. Fossilized remains of hundreds of Diprotodons have been unearthed across Australia, confirming that no other animal from the same era and region rivaled it in size. A relative of the modern wombat, the Diprotodon had inward-facing toes adapted for digging. However, due to its massive size, it likely didn't burrow like its smaller ancestors. Instead, it probably used its claws to unearth roots, with its pouch facing backward, a feature that kept it clean from dirt while digging. Comparing Diprotodon to modern-day animals, herbivores similar to its size, such as hippos, account for the vast majority of fatalities from wildlife in Africa. Therefore, it can be imagined that the statistics may not be so different with Diprotodon in prehistoric Australia. A female Diprotodon taking care of her young would have had no problem trampling a human that may have wandered into her path. Due to its widespread range across Australia, encounters with humans are almost certain, perhaps as they foraged for similar vegetation. In 2016, a right arm bone of a young Diprotodon was found in the Warratee rock shelter. This shelter is up a sheer cliff face, and because the fossil lacked carnivore damage and the Diprotodon was unable to climb up to this shelter, it was concluded that humans brought the bone up there, providing evidence for interaction between the two species. The humans likely scavenged the bones from an already dead Diprotodon, although there is evidence that humans hunted these giant herbivores too. However, accidentally stumbling across an angry giant wombat while out picking berries would have almost certainly put fear into the minds of our Australian predecessors. Thanks to its enormous size, adult Diprotodons faced few threats from predators. Before humans arrived in Australia around 60,000 years ago, their primary threats were large, ferocious predators, like the ones at the end of our list. So make sure to stick around to hear about those. Speaking once more of size, our second animal is another example of a well-known animal, but bigger. Like how Diprotodon resembled a massive wombat, the Procoptodon, or the giant short-faced kangaroo, was, as its name suggests, a jumbo-sized kangaroo. The largest species, P. goliath, stood at almost 9 feet tall and weighed 530 pounds or 240 kilograms. These giant herbivores used their size to reach shrubs and fruit high up in trees. With 2 enlarged fingers on each hand, tipped with giant claws and forward-facing eyes that provided depth perception, the Procoptodon could effortlessly grasp tall branches and pull them down to its mouth. This idea is further supported by the size and shape of its skull. Unlike modern kangaroos, it had a shorter snout, allowing it to chew through tough vegetation and branches commonly found in arid regions. But these features also provided defenses, and are seen in the modern day with kangaroos boxing, scratching and grabbing one another. If a predator were to approach or startle them, they would have also had no issue sitting back on their tail and providing a solid kick to the head of whatever it was that scared them. Receiving a blow like this from such a large animal could have potentially proved fatal in a time where concussion protocols were not enforced. And it can be imagined that Australia's prehistoric inhabitants may have given a wide berth to the Procoptodon if they spotted one having a snack in the forests. However, the same features that provide its fear factor may also have caused its demise. Thanks to its size and its tendency to spend time in shrubland, it is likely that human encounters were quite common, with a well-rehearsed group of human hunters having the upper hand. Like most other species of megafauna, it is theorized that human hunting had a strong part to play in the extinction of Procoptodon, so perhaps they were the ones that were more scared. Before we move on to predators, we would like to make an honorable mention. While not necessarily a threat to humans, the Myolania is yet another example of the giant animals of this time. Myolania was a land turtle, measuring up to 2 meters in length, with large spikes on its head and tail. Despite once more being hunted to extinction by humans, turning a corner to see this devil-like animal would have been unnerving to say the least. But not as unnerving as our next few animals, as we move on to the predatory carnivores. To begin our predatory section, let's look at an animal that fed on both the Procoptodon and Diprotodon, Thylacoleo. The Thylacoleo, also known as the marsupial lion, holds the title of one of the most fearsome predators in prehistoric Australia. This powerful carnivore measured around 5 feet in length and weighed up to 220 pounds or 100 kilograms, making it comparable in size to a modern leopard. However, its unique anatomy and hunting adaptations set it apart as one of the most specialized mammalian predators of its time. Surprisingly, it is not a relative of a cat or wolf or hyena, as most of the predators we might picture. In fact, it is a relative of today's koalas and wombats. As a result, Thylacoleo possessed robust forelimbs equipped with retractable claws and a semi-opposable thumb, which it used to grapple prey. Its teeth were particularly remarkable. Blade-like carnassials evolved to shear through flesh and bone, rivaling the bite force of much larger predators. But, due to its relation to wombats and koalas, it also had front incisors very similar to those of a rodent. They were greatly enlarged, taking the place of canines as their main weapons. Thylacoleo's robust limb proportions and muscle mass distribution suggest that they weren't particularly fast, but were most adapted to pouncing, a trait associated with ambush predators. Incisions found on a giant kangaroo fossil made by Thylacoleo show a feeding style similar to cheetahs, where the sharp teeth are used to tear open the ribcage before they could feed on the internal organs. And they may have combined this with behaviors similar to those of modern-day leopards. Thanks to semi-opposable thumbs and a reduced first toe with a rough pad on its back feet, there is a theory that they may have also used these features to climb trees, as similar feet are seen in modern possums. Then, like leopards, they could attack their prey from above, using their jaws or strong limbs to strangle and suffocate their victims. Fossil evidence of Thylacoleo has been found across Australia, indicating it was widespread and likely preyed on a variety of animals, including other large megafauna like Diprotodon. While there is no direct evidence to suggest the interaction of this species with humans, its predatory lifestyle, coupled with its capability to take down rhinoceros-sized Diprotodon, means that a lone human, particularly a child, would have made an easy snack for such a fearsome predator. Early Australians would have had to keep their eyes peeled at all angles to avoid this brutal predator. But if modern-day Australia is anything to go by, you might have guessed that this wasn't the most terrifying predator out there. If you're enjoying this video, please consider liking to let us know and subscribing to join our adventures. We'd love to have you with us. The last 2 animals on our list are truly nightmare-inducing. Let's start with a giant venomous land dragon, Varanus priscus, or Megalania, as it was originally called. Megalania is an enormous reptile resembling an 8-meter or 26-foot monitor lizard at its biggest. However, it is actually more closely related to snakes, and more likely around 3.5 meters or 11 feet, weighing around 160 kilograms or 350 pounds. Regardless of if it was 3.5 meters or 8 meters, this is not a creature you'd want to come face to face with. As an ancestor to the lineage of modern-day Komodo dragons in Indonesia, part of the varanid lizards of the Toxicifera clade, Megalania very likely had venomous glands in its mouth. If this was the case, Megalania would possibly be the largest venomous animal to have ever existed. These glands would have spiked its saliva with a hemotoxin, preventing the blood of a victim from clotting once bitten, causing catastrophic bleeding an immense drop in blood pressure, systemic shock, and ultimately, death. This means the large lizard could bite its victim, retreat, and then recover the carcass once the venom had done its job. If venom wasn't enough, it also had large claws, powerful legs, and long recurved teeth, meaning once you got near enough for it to grab you, there was very little chance you were getting away. And it seems likely that Megalania had interactions with humans too. In Australian Aboriginal mythology, there is a tale of a wowie, a 7-meter lizard with 6 legs and large frog-shaped head. Although slow, the wowie was extremely stealthy and could kill and devour a whole tribe or herd of cattle in a single meal. It lived in a cave deep beneath the ground, and the story tells of how the local tribes set the cave entrance alight, waiting for 7 days for the wowie to emerge before killing it. Something which may very well have occurred to a large Megalania that was terrorizing the local tribes. And for the final animal on our list, its jaws provided a similar fate as Megalania. Of course, it wouldn't be a video about Australia without mentioning crocodiles. We'd hate to disappoint Steve Irwin, so let's discuss our final animal, Quinkana. Unlike the crocodiles we know today, Quinkana was built for the land. Estimates place it at around 3 meters long and weighing 200 kilograms or 440 pounds, about the size of a modern American alligator. However, other estimates point to larger guesses at almost 6 meters or 20 feet in length. Either way, it was certainly formidable enough to terrify the local human inhabitants. Its body was muscular, and its legs were strong and positioned underneath its body, giving it a unique upright gait compared to the sprawling posture of modern crocodiles. These terrestrial adaptations indicate it was an active hunter, chasing prey across open grasslands or through forested areas. It likely targeted all of the animals that we have mentioned above, as these prey make up most of Australia's megafauna at the time. Quinkana had blade-like teeth, perfectly designed for slicing through flesh, suggesting it was a specialized carnivore. With sharp teeth and incredible speed for its size, Quinkana would have relied on stealth and bursts of power to bring down its prey. Its diet and hunting strategies placed it firmly at the top of the prehistoric food chain. It is also suggested that this croc may have been a comfortable swimmer, perhaps utilizing similar ambush tactics to modern-day crocodilians, grabbing an occasional human as they ventured to a watering hole. Finally, for some honorable mentions. At this time, there was the largest monotreme ever, Murrayglossus hacketi, basically an oversized 1-meter echidna with a body full of large spines. There was Wanambi, a 6-meter or 20-foot constrictor snake, hiding near watering holes to attack kangaroos, wallabies, or anything else around 5 to 6 feet tall. Look out, humans. And we haven't even mentioned the aquatic animals. That's a video for another time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.